Hello and welcome to our studios here at New Image. I'm here today with a very special guest. I'm here with Nigel Wilson, who is the Group Chief Executive of the Wythenshawe Housing Community Group. Welcome, Nigel.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So, the Wythenshawe Community Housing Group, can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah, we came about in April this year, 2013, and it was born of Willow Park Housing Trust and Parkway Green Housing Trust that represented East and West Wythenshawe. Willow Park had established in 1999 and Parkway Green in 2006. And with the motorway running between us, we'd split Wythenshawe in half, really. And it was decided that there was going to be some significant benefits for the community by bringing our organisations together under one umbrella for the benefit of the whole of Wythenshawe. And we've been working since April to bring around those efficiencies and develop our new services so we have a pan-Wythenshawe approach to everything that we do in the way in which we try and do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went into Wythenshawe years ago and I always remember it was one of the biggest housing estates ever. It was always branded as that in Europe. That's probably a myth, I think. But anyway, I mean, so how many houses do you actually control? Or?
We manage now just under 14,000 homes across all of Wythenshawe, and that's roughly half of the houses in Wythenshawe. Really? The rest have either been bought under the right to buy, the legislation that came in the 80s, or have changed for other reasons. And there's been new housing coming since then as well. But Wythenshawe was designed as a garden city in 1927 as part of the Garden City movement. It was a response to needing to provide new housing for people living in what were slums in the inner city. Yeah. Those were cleared out and people moved into a green part of it was in Cheshire. So the city did the deal to bring the land together. It was rural land in the main. A place like Northernham was an original village, and then Wythenshawe built around it. So it was built out through the late 20s, 30s, 40s and 50s to the housing that there is now, which is why it's predominantly family housing. More than half of our houses are three-bedroom homes.
So it's a massive operation.
It's a big operation. We employ some 550 colleagues across the business, providing everything from our repair service to people who pick up the litter in the street, to repair the homes, to put new services into the homes to manage, and we also employ debt advisors and a whole range of services for the community and community centres as well. And
obviously because of the size of the operation, like you said, the 14,000 houses and all the people who live there, are there any obvious problems, or have those problems now been eradicated?
I think there's been a lot of myths about Wythenshawe, like a lot of city areas. They get a reputation, some of it deserved and some of it not. And Wythenshawe has suffered from more bed press than many areas. Some of that famously came about when Mr Cameron came for a visit after he'd been elected Tory leader and was pictured with a young youth who'd been given a sizable cash sum by a photographer to make a gun sign behind his head. That led to massive press coverage across all the media about what an area Wythenshawe was and what trouble there was with use and the famous hugger hoodie stuff that came out. But on the back of that was a desire from local people and local organisations like the Housing Trust to start a campaign we called Real Lives, to tell the real stories of Wythenshawe and not allow the media to distort it. And that's grown now into a range of other services with a real title, so that people from Wythenshawe tell their own story and don't let the London-biased media distort it.
It's very obvious you've got a very, very high regard for the estate, and you're as the Group Chief Executive, and you're obviously going to iron those problems out. It's great to hear you say that. So, what's the benefits of now Wythenshawe that you can offer as a community housing group?
I think what we see is that there's been a huge amount of good work done by both Willow Park and Parkway Green and the community and our partners like the City Council. And we see our job to be a catalyst where we can be and to work in partnership where we can, whether that's with the local schools, with the local college, with employers, with the airport and the hospital, both of which are huge economic hubs. And we've got the new Airport City Enterprise Zone, which is just starting now, and that'll deliver some new 15,000 to 20,000 jobs over the next 10 years. So our job is to work with our communities to make sure they get access to those jobs.
And of course Wythenshawe, like it originally was, say, a mecca for the people who worked at Ringway as it was then. Is that still the case? You just said about employment. Is that the idea as well, to attract more enterprise?
We've got a lot of industry around us and a lot of employers. And what we want to do is make sure that local people get access to them. Historically, the postcode of Wythenshawe was a blight for some people getting jobs at the airport.
Really?
And we've turned that around with the cooperation of our airport colleagues. There's now an academy at the airport that we support alongside the airport to provide training opportunities for young people and older people to get access to those jobs. And there's a dedicated resource now being established for the enterprise zone so that we can make sure that as many of those jobs go locally and as many as the good jobs as well and the high-paying jobs.
Because I worked at Wythenshawe as an actor a few years ago, and I did pantomimes there at the Wythenshawe Forum, very successfully, I might say. But I mean, the Wythenshawe Forum as itself, is that still in operation? Is that still part of your? Is that coming to your?
No, the forum itself is a separate entity. It's a community trust. I chair it at the moment. We have representatives from the community and from the council who are partners in that, and that receives support from the city council. That's had significant investment in probably 10 years ago, which means now it's got one of the most busiest used libraries in the city. It's got a successful theatre. They still run a very successful panto. Tickets are available.
No, they're not.
We also have a health centre in there. We also provide a college that run courses out of there. It's very much a hub within the civic centre of Wythenshawe, but then supports the outreach work through our community centres as well, like the lifestyle centre where people are today.
And that's obviously a very important thing with such the size of the estate and the size of the people that, you know, the enormity of the population. And I also know that you've opened, and I don't know how recently you've opened, the Woodhouse Park Community Lifestyle Centre, is that right?
The Lifestyle Centre opened in 2006.
I would say it's been open quite a few years.
It's quite opened a few years, but it's still very, if you like, very well looked after, very well respected and massively used by the community from within Woodhouse Park, but from across Wythenshawe and from outside Wythenshawe for events, for community events. We do everything from weddings and christenings through to wheelchair dancing, through to youth clubs, through to special education programmes through a WOW zone, and hopefully people who are visiting today will get a chance to see some of that. But we've got everything from five-a-side football pitches through to a community cafe in here.
And that's open to the whole people of Wythenshawe? Absolutely.
Anybody can come in. There's food served every day. People get access to really affordable, healthy food and community services and youth clubs and after-school clubs and preschool clubs.
So in effect, you're actually using all the facilities, you're using the people in all different ways to concentrate.
Absolutely. The old-fashioned idea of a community centre being a bit of a drafty church hall is blown away by a place like the Lifestyle Centre that offers everything from a custom-made dance studio to a music studio through to a venue that can be used and seats 100 people for a formal dinner.
And from what you're saying, the events there that happen, I mean, is it well attended? Is it?
Very well attended. We have probably, I think last year there was almost 100,000 people went through. So 2,000 people a week, roughly, are coming in, using the facilities, and that, we think, is a great sign of success.
That can only benefit everybody, I think, really. Like you're saying, educating the lifestyle, and also they don't have to move off the estate in a certain way.
And it brings people who aren't from the estate in as well, which is one of the other things, is breaking down the myths about Wythenshawe, is people seeing what great facilities and great opportunities there are in a place like this. So bringing businesses in to the Lifestyle Centre to run their training seminars and things really opens the eyes for employees.
Yeah. And you really have changed the word community centre to a lifestyle centre, which is obviously...
And that was intentional when it was designed out, and with the partnership from the council and the Sports Council. It was really finding a way which provided facilities that will be fit for the 21st century. And I think they still are and will continue to be invested in.
Well, Nigel, that's really interesting. Thank you ever so much for coming into our studios here at New Image today. Nice to meet you. All the very best for your housing community group, and hope to see you again sometime.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.